และต่อจากนี้ค่ะเป็นอีกหนึ่งสิ่งที่สำคัญในเรื่องของบิสเนสการทำธุรกิจเช่นกันค่ะเพื่อความครบครันของเนื้อหาในแวดวงธุรกิจวันนี้ค่ะโลจิสติกส์ถือว่าเป็นองค์ประกอบสำคัญเพราะหากบริหารได้ไม่เหมาะสมอาจก่อให้เกิดความเสียหายมหาศาลและช่วงนี้ค่ะจึงเป็นหัวข้อโลจิสติกส์เพื่อขับเคลื่อนธุรกิจอีคอมเมิร์ซไทยและอาเซียนค่ะโดยมิสเตอร์สุชาญ Mantry ซึ่งท่านเป็นหัวหน้าฝ่ายพัฒนาเครือข่ายระหว่างประเทศและกรรมการผู้จัดการส่วนภูมิภาคแห่งสิงคโปร์โพสต์ปัจจุบันค่ะท่านดูแลรับผิดชอบงานพัฒนาระบบบริการรับส่งข้ามแดนสำหรับธุรกิจอีคอมเมิร์ซในภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและการตลาดอีคอมเมิร์ซขนาดใหญ่และยังเคยร่วมงานกับ MC Kinsky ขออภัยค่ะ McKinsey ดูแลรับผิดชอบการพัฒนาธุรกิจระดับภูมิภาคและการพัฒนากระบวนการปฏิบัติงานในอินเดียและอาเซียนสำหรับ Mr. Mantry ค่ะจะมาพูดในนามบริษัท Quantium Solution ซึ่งเป็นบริษัทลูกของสิงคโปร์โพสต์ค่ะ and this session is e-commerce logistics driving growth in Thailand and beyond. May I present Mr. Sushant Mantry, Head of International Network Development and Vigilant Managing Director of Singapore Post. Mr. Mantry is representing Quantum Solutions. May I present him on the stage ขอเสียงปรบมือต้อนรับด้วยค่ะ
I can use this, no problem, because then I'll be in the middle of the screen, that's fine. Can I get the pointer? Sure. Yeah, but I have some animation that I will use. Very good morning, everyone. Sawadee-ka, my name is Sushant, and I'm the Regional Managing Director for Quantium in Thailand. I'm based out of Singapore, but I keep coming often to Thailand. My apologies in advance that I don't know Thai. All I know is Sawadee-ka and Kapun Krap. So if you do not understand anything out of my presentation, we can all blame the translator later on. Well, before I start, let me ask you two questions. How many of you already are into exports? Exports? Not too many, okay. How many of you have actually done business online? Excellent. So, and last question, how many of you see e-commerce as a threat to your business? Excellent. So, quite a few hands. And how many of you see this as an opportunity? Terrific. Look, I think that's the spirit that you all bring to this room, is the spirit of entrepreneurs. And as entrepreneurs, you should see this as a big opportunity because this can expand your marketplace or your target audience to the whole world, not just Thailand. So I think you should take this whole e-commerce phenomenon in that spirit. Now, let's go to the next page. Oops. All right. What I'm going to talk about today is the specific area of international logistics and what, as you start to do business online and international, what are the typical challenges that you might face, and what are the best practice solutions that we as a logistics expert would recommend. Of course, every situation is unique and may need a different answer, and we are very happy, and in fact, even after this session, I'm very happy to discuss with you if you have any specific questions and think about the potential solutions for you guys. Right. A very quick introduction to our company before I start. So we are among the very few pan-Asian e-commerce logistics solutions providers in the whole of region. We are a part of the SingPost group, which is based in Singapore. We're present in 13 countries, and we have over 2,300 e-commerce customers across the 13 countries we are present, and we transact, we almost ship over 3 million items per day, which includes the mail business that we have as well as the parcels. We are also associated with Alibaba. Alibaba is our second largest investor, and of course, that basically gives us the stamp of the right business model, that e-commerce logistics is a very, very important business as the whole world moves to international e-commerce business. Okay. Most of the session today was talking about e-commerce, payments, the technology, right? How many of you think that is all about e-commerce? So if you think you have a nice web page and you have a payment solution in place, would it work? Would all of this work? I would say perhaps no, right? Because there are multiple things, a lot more things that you need to take care of. As you know, e-commerce is just another business, right? So one part is the front end, but the rest of it is the fulfillment, the back end, the hard work behind that, and which basically includes, for example, your warehousing and fulfilling orders, delivery, your returns, your lost items and compensation. How do you merchandise? What items do you choose which will sell more? And how do you manage the inventory? How do you monitor your performance? Which products are selling? Which markets are the hottest? How do you track that? Right? And finally, providing customer care to your customers, especially when it is not the local market. You are in a different country. You are remotely placed. How do you make sure your customers are satisfied? So running an e-commerce business means a lot more, and I think these are the 6 big areas that you will need to focus as you think about doing an international e-commerce business. Today, I will focus on these 2 elements, warehousing and fulfillment, and then delivery and returns management, especially for international logistics. Because I believe you all are quite familiar with the local Thai logistics landscape, and you must be dealing with that for many number of years. I would like to touch upon international delivery today. Now, if we let's start with warehousing and fulfillment. How many of you have warehouses today as part of your business? Excellent, not many. Planning to set up warehouses as you do international e-commerce fulfillment business? Perhaps more of you, right? Let me talk about what are the typical challenges you face when you, especially doing international e-commerce fulfillment. What are the challenges in warehousing and fulfillment that you will face? The first one is, if you have to set up a warehouse, that itself comes with a high fixed cost of both renting the warehouse as well as the manpower, right? Then, once you go online, your demand can be very unpredictable. You may suddenly see, you may be doing 100 tons per day or 100 items per day. Suddenly, you are exposed to the whole world, and you may see a 10 times increase in volume. One day, you may not see something, right? So the demand becomes very unpredictable. How do you manage that? Third, I think associated problem is the ability to scale fast, right? You had a small warehouse or medium-sized warehouse. You are doing your Thailand business, which is, let's say, roughly very stable. But once you go online and you suddenly have to scale up, how do you do that fast? And finally, as you do multiple SKUs, multiple times of inventory, your lead times become longer. How do you keep track of your inventory? Are there any the warehouse owners here who have warehouses, any other issues that you face in your regular business? Let's assume that if these are the issues, what could be a potential solution for as you start e-commerce fulfillment business, right? Across the world, and when I say across the world, you go to the largest markets, US, Europe, China, you will see more and more SME e-commerce sellers are moving to fulfillment solutions. A fulfillment solution is basically an all-in-one solution for you, which would take care of right from storage to inventory management to inventory tracking and fulfillment, which includes shipments and returns of all your products, which basically gives you all the time to focus on growing the market, growing the business, and targeting your customers. I will talk about this in more detail as we go further. The second area is deliveries and returns management. Now, once you are, when you are in Thailand and it's all domestic, it's much easier for us to handle. We are in the same time zone, we speak the same language, we know how the connectivity is, what are the various modes of transport, and how much time would it take. But when you go international, a lot of this becomes very unpredictable and high cost, right? So what are the challenges you would face once you go international in terms of delivery and returns management? Number one, cost for international cross-border logistics is much higher than just pure domestic logistics. Number one. Number two is, again, a very, very complex area of, the customs, duties, taxes that you'll have to bear. Third, how do you track your items when they are in transit, right? How do you tell your customer where is the item when they are in transit? So tracking and local customer support. If you are shipping, for example, to the US, you have a 12-hour time difference, right? The customer would want somebody to be available during his or her office hours to answer his query, rather than wait till 10 p.m. in the night when Thailand wakes up, right? So that's the third issue that you face. Finally, on your side, there is a big risk if there are items lost and you can't compensate, or you can't get a compensation back from your third-party logistics supplier. So these are 3 or 4 challenges that I would say typically you will face when you do international e-commerce, international deliveries, whether it's e-commerce or otherwise, right? Again, here, the way the space is evolving is, there are more and more cross-border logistics specialists that are coming on the fore, right? Which would help you basically address all those issues. And I will talk more about how they would be doing. Are there any other issues that the group would like to highlight for discussion, or just share with the other members of the group? Never mind. Okay, let me first start talking about the fulfillment solutions. Right? Now, again, a lot of companies do this, but I'm just taking an example of how we do it to explain the concept. Right? And it's a pretty similar concept for other companies as well. So what basically it means is that if you choose a fulfillment partner, you would send your inventory to their warehouse. Let's say if we are doing it for you, you'll send it to our warehouse. So you will send it to us. We do the stock keeping. We do the maintenance of the stock, inventory, inbound, outbound, everything. Then you sell on the marketplaces. And once the order is sold and you have an order, confirmed order, the information will come to us and we will ship it out to the eventual consumer, right? Now, and all of this is online. So even your staff who is doing it for you, are doing the domestic operations or daily operations, would be able to handle this because this is in the local language. It's a pretty intuitive user interface. Now, how does it help you? Number one, it centralizes your inventory. So if you are selling in multiple countries, right? Do you want to keep your inventory in 10 different places or one different place and still be available to everyone? Second, you can connect to multiple channels. So using one fulfillment solution, you can say, I want to sell on Amazon, I want to sell on eBay, I want to sell on Alibaba, I want to sell on various marketplaces. You would be able to do that with just one connectivity. And thirdly, the whole order processing is automated. So if somebody bought some item from you from Alibaba, all the information will flow to our order management systems. And from there, we will ship the order the next day out of our warehouse. Right? this, what does this mean to you? Is basically means that without worrying about the daily problems or daily bottlenecks that you will face in expanding your business on the ground, you can just focus on targeting a very big marketplace that you now have because of the connectivity. Right? Now, we launched this solution in Singapore just earlier this year, and we plan to launch this in Thailand by the end of this year. Right? This is specifically targeting SMEs, and I'll just maybe spend some more time on how does it work for SMEs. So, yeah. So, see, traditional model, what happens is the SME sells the items on multiple marketplaces, right? And then each marketplace has their own customers, and that's where how the purchase and tracking happens. Now, what we have done is basically the fulfillment solution. What it does, it basically becomes the bridge between multiple marketplaces and you. So, with one solution, you can actually go to all the customers across marketplaces in one go, right? And once the orders are placed, the orders flow down all the way here. We will ship the inventory and we will do the tracking, and you just have to give the inventory to us into our warehouse, and all the fulfillment happens from there. This is a typical fulfillment solution that you will get in the market, and this is very, very popular amongst SMEs across the world. Okay. What does it mean for you, and how does it benefit you? See, typically, if you are doing a business, the time and effort of your management that is spent is typically going in 5 different directions, right? You do order and inventory management, warehousing management, delivery, business growth, and catalog management, which basically means that you have very limited time to focus on business growth. What it does, the way it helps is it takes away the tasks of warehousing management and delivery management out, so that you can focus more and more on your business. Just growing business, attending customer queries, meeting customers, communicating with them, and getting orders, other than worrying about whether my order has shipped today, do I have a stock problem or not, right? So, for SMEs, as I said, very, very popular solution across the world. As the people do e-commerce business online, the SMEs go online, is fulfillment solutions. Again, these are some of the features. I won't go into detail on this one, but essentially 4 things that you need to remember. It provides you the opportunity to become more systematized and more in control of and bring more transparency into your business. It helps you connect to multiple channels in one go. It helps you for easier inventory management, and finally, with one solution, you will be able to ship across the world. I think the last thing is, at the same time, you just take away all the fixed costs in terms of warehousing and shipping, so that you can focus all your capital into growing your business. Now coming to the second part, which is international delivery and returns, and what are the challenges you'll face, and what typically are the best practice solutions across these issues to solve these issues. The first, I'll just repeat out the 4 challenges that we talked about: high cross-border logistics costs, customs duties and taxes, how to provide tracking and customer support locally, and finally managing your returns. For the first one, a high cross-border logistics. The most important, there is a ton of delivery products that are available online. You will see, overnight delivery, you will see express delivery, you will see registered articles, you will see EMS. Which product is right for you is very, very important, because each product comes with a price. So you need to be an expert in identifying what works best for you. That's number 1. And I will just touch upon later in the presentation how you can be an expert in 10 minutes on identifying which product to use for yourself. Second one is customs, duties, and taxes. The key here is that you need to optimize your products based on the rules and regulations in the other countries, right? And again, we will talk more about how can you take advantage of custom regulations in certain countries, and therefore think about your marketing strategy and sales strategy in that particular market. Number 3 is, providing local support and tracking. Here, you need to really leverage your third-party logistics provider who can help you, because they have, if you're using a cross-border expert, they would provide you these solutions where you could get multilingual customer support, you would be able to get local customer support, and end-to-end tracking from origin to destination. And this all should basically be a part of the solution that you get from them. And finally, I think most sellers make this mistake, so I think it's important to highlight this one. You need to be very sure about the compensation and claim policies beforehand, and not go to the supplier afterwards that I've lost a shipment, what do I do now? Right? Especially for high value shipments, this is very, very important, because I have seen personally a lot of cases where people have lost money because they did not read the fine print in beforehand. Okay? Now let's talk about the first one, is how to choose the right product. So, as you are choosing the right delivery product, you need to think about a multitude of parameters. You need to see what is my weight of the item, what is the transit time I want for my item to go into the other country and reach the destination. What kind of tracking do I want, right? Do I want tracking it every 6 hours, or just end state and beginning state is fine for me? And finally, what is the compensation I would get if I lose an item, right? So, you see, there are multiple products available, especially for smaller items, right? Items up to 30 kilos. There are multiple products available. First one is the ordinary mail, right? If you have a booklet or something that you need to send out, this is no risk, very small cost of the item. It doesn't need to reach the next day. You really don't need to spend a lot of money and do an overnight courier for that, right? Then the second is, the typical registered product that you see. These are most of the postal companies would offer this one. If you go to Thai Post, come to us, we can offer this one. Air parcel is basically another product where you are using air freight from the postal companies, but it's a slightly slower product than the express mail service or EMS that you would be quite familiar with if you use Thai Post ever. Now, so all of them actually vary across these dimensions, right? And also, if you see, the price also varies across as you choose which product, depending on the choice of the product. The final one is express, which is basically, if you heard about DHL overnight products, right, or 9 a.m. products where they will deliver it in a certain amount of time. Yes, they have all the features, but they come in very expensive, right? So now, let me ask this group. Can I have one volunteer who can tell me what their products they sell in the market, and we can perhaps help them choose what should be the delivery product they use? Any volunteer? May I ask you, sir? What do you sell online? Oh, no worries. What do you intend to sell online? What do you plan to sell? Automotive parts. So let's say, choose one. Take steering.
Some accessory for part.
Okay, let's choose some accessory. Let's choose an alternator.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Alternator, how big is it?
Pardon me?
How big is your typical size of alternator?
About less than 10 kilo.
Less than 10 kilo, fantastic. And where would you ship it? You'd ship it to, for example, let's say you're shipping it to Australia.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of demand going of auto parts coming out of Thailand into Australia, right? In Australia, as we'll see later, it's very, very favorable country for duties. We'll talk about that later. But across these delivery products, which one do you use? Which one would you use if you had to ship an alternator out to Australia?
Normally we send by from the sea freight.
All right. You send it sea freight. Fair enough. See, but so sea freight, typically when you're supplying to their suppliers, their sea freight is fine. Sometimes what happens is the customer wants to buy directly from you.
Yeah.
Right? So for example, I am another customer sitting in Australia. I, for example, wanted to buy a nice car stereo, right? Which is necessary. And I want to ship it to be shipped to my home. Now, car stereo is typically 2.5 kilos, right? And the customer really doesn't need it the next day. So I won't go do an express shipping over there. I would perhaps choose a product such as an air parcel or EMS, which will take 5 or 6 days, but will come at half the price. Right? So as you are, because and there would be thousands of buyers who would be now asking for alternators or these small accessories from you. So as you grow scale, you need to think about the cost of delivery. And therefore, choosing the right product is very important. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. I'd just like to add one more thing here, is that, initially as you start talking to your customers, you would have inquiries for samples or requests for samples, right? Then you send samples. These fulfillment requests are not very urgent. So you will basically use an EMS product or a mid-tier delivery product and send them over, right? Because you will have hundreds of inquiries. Later on, as you receive bulk orders, these bulk orders could be more than 30 kilos, more than 100 kilos. You may perhaps have to ship a container, for example, right? So what I would like to say is, yes, there are these solutions available. So also think about the weight tier, right? I mean, if you have really a large bulk of items going into one country, think about what are the bulk freight solutions available to you. As you said, sea freight is one of them. And we can basically, if we can work with you to determine and customize a solution that works best for your requirements. Now, customs duties and taxes. Very, very important and very interesting topic. How many of you have ever heard of a word called de minimis? De minimis is basically the amount. If you're under order that you're shipping into that country is under that amount, there are no duties or taxes. So you actually have an advantage. So for example, Australia. In Australia, if you ship an item which is $500 worth, there is no duty, no tax. So you actually at an advantage of sending it from here as an exporter rather than if I am a consumer buying in Australia, right? This is a very, very important concept that you need to know as you are shipping items and what is your shipping strategy, right? So for example, if I were to send items to Taiwan or Japan, as long as the item is $100 or less, no problem. It will not attract duties. So even if this basically has multiple implications of your delivery strategy. If you have a certain order which is let's say $2,000 for Australia, you want to break it in two parts so that there are no duties, and then the management is much easier, right? Similarly, if you have multiple SKUs, some of them are low value, some of them are high value, you want to break them down and segment so that most of them will not attract duties. The other aspects that you need to consider are three other things. In some cases, you may see countries offer special FTA or duty exemptions for certain items. So you need to be very, very sure and take advantage of these before you start shipping to certain countries. Number two, clearance modes, right? Especially for smaller items, there are two clearance modes available, commercial and postal, right? So if let's say you want to ship to Indonesia, customs is a big problem, right? But if you send items through postal mode, it's a slightly easier task because there is a relatively lax checking of customs or scrutiny of customs when it goes through postal mode. So you need to, an expert or whoever, the 3PL that you are going to, you should ask these questions to him before you start shipping with them. Finally, the third thing is bulk versus consignment. It's very important. Let's say if you had to service 10 customers in a country, right? You can send one bulk freight, let's say as you are doing sea, and then somebody would do a break bulk and give it to these 10 people. The other way you could do it, you could send them as 10 separate items together in a master, and it will not attract any duties because these are different consignees, right? So this is a very, very important part of your delivery strategy. that you need to consider. And finally, some parties can give you DDP, which is delivery duty paid, but if you go to a postal company, they will not do a duty collection for you, or they will have to charge the customer. So if sometimes you're selling online, you want to do an all-inclusive price, so you will choose a DDP supplier so that all your duties are paid by you and the customer gets one price. Any questions on this? Or maybe we can come back to the Q&A session later. I think those were the two concepts I really want to explain. I do not want to take too much time and make it very complex for you, because I think you already have enough to digest for today. However, I would like to just make 4 points as to, as you are thinking about a 3PL, and I think it's also coming from what we provide, what value we provide to our customers. And these are the questions you need to ask. These are the values this is the value proposition you need to look from your 3PL. Number 1 is you want to find an end-to-end but modular solution, and we provide that. So for example, if you have your own warehouse, you just want delivery, then it's a different solution than compared to say, I want end-to-end fulfillment, right? Where I want, you do my online page, you do my warehousing, shipping, everything. So your 3PL should be able to provide you that flexibility. Number 2 is coverage, right? You may want to say, okay, I want to go with one supplier for one country and for Vietnam for another supplier, but it will just create more complications for you. So therefore, this is another thing that you want to look into your supplier is the coverage. Third, we, for example, do a Pan-Asia coverage where we have offices and warehouses, right? So if you want to do local warehousing and delivery, because that really means a very big difference. So for example, if you have to ship overnight, then if you are your stock is in the local country, it becomes much faster, right? So we can help you or deal like a local when it comes to Asia Pacific if you work with us. And finally, I think it's important. The tools should be able to help you. And the tools should be able to fit your needs rather than you are fitting the tool's needs. So I'll give 2 examples what I'm saying. I think the second one. So for example, for our SMEs in Thailand, what we provide is easy parcel solutions, which is basically up to 30 kilos can help you ship through any of these modes, is presented in Thai language so that even your staff can go and work on it. And it provides you end-to-end. In fact, it will provide you, for example, what is the cost of shipping that you will incur before shipping. So there are no surprises, right? The second thing was the network coverage that we provide. So if you use postal, for example, we can do any country in the world. If you want a 4PL service, we have a 4PL network across all the major e-commerce markets in the world, right? So I think with that, my time also is up. She reminded me. So thank you very much for listening. Hopefully it was useful to you. And would like to welcome any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.Sushant Mantry. Thank you for your sharing your presentation. ต้องขอบคุณกับท่านสุชาญด้วยนะคะที่ให้ข้อมูลดีๆกับพวกเราค่ะค่อนข้างจะดำเนินไปแบบรวดเร็วนะคะกระชับกันสุดๆเลยเพราะว่าตอนนี้เนี่ยได้เวลาที่ทุกท่านจะได้พักผ่อนกันแล้วค่ะในช่วงนี้นะคะอยากให้ทุกท่านค่ะได้ใส่แบบประเมินให้กับพวกเราด้วยนะคะสำหรับการจัดงานของเราในครั้งนี้ค่ะกับงานสัมมนา Going Digital Effective Solution to Drive SMEs Growth หรือว่าธุรกิจดิจิทัลทางรอดทางรุ่งของSME ไทยค่ะซึ่งเป็นหนึ่งใน3สัมมนานำร่องของ SME Biz Asia 2016 ครั้งที่2ของเราจะมีการสัมมนาเรื่อง Gearing Up SMEs for China Stock Markets and Beyond ในเดือนกรกฎาคมค่ะและครั้งที่3เป็นการสัมมนาเรื่อง Google for Works for SME ในเดือนตุลาคม 2558 นี้โปรดติดตามข่าวสารการจัดสัมมนาของเราที่ www.smebizasia.com ค่ะซึ่งเอกสารหรือว่าข้อมูลต่างๆเพิ่มเติมในการสัมมนาครั้งนี้สามารถติดตามได้จากเว็บไซต์นี้ด้วยเช่นกันค่ะ แล้ววันนี้ค่ะในช่วงแรกนี้นะคะสำหรับพาร์ทเช้าของเราที่ผ่านไปค่ะเนื้อหาเข้มข้นอัดแน่นนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของการเงินค่ะเรื่องของโลจิสติกนะคะแล้วก็เว็บไซต์อาลีบาบาที่จะเป็นตัวช่วยเป็นสื่อกลางให้ B2B Business to Business ได้ง่ายยิ่งขึ้นและจากนี้ค่ะในช่วงบ่ายท่านจะได้พบกับสาระความรู้อีกมากมายลำดับนี้อยากให้ทุกท่านได้พักผ่อนกันก่อนค่ะซึ่งจะขอเรียนเชิญแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านรับประทานอาหารบุฟเฟ่มื้อกลางวันที่ห้องอาหารเทสชั้น7กดลิฟต์นะคะไปที่ชั้น7ค่ะกรุณาแสดงคูปองอาหารด้วยนะคะ And after this, let's take a break for lunch, and we will come for another interesting session at 1 o'clock. Please come here sharp. กรุณากลับมาตรงเวลานะเวลาบ่ายโมงตรงนะคะ in the afternoon. The restaurant's name is Taste. It is on the floor, 7th floor. 7th floor. Please show your lunch coupon up on entry. แล้วเดี๋ยวเรากลับมาพบกันอีกครั้งในช่วงเวลา 13 นาฬิกาตรงขอบคุณทุกท่านมากๆค่ะ